So I'll do a quick introduction of you and then I'll get started. So, hey there guys, this is Vedant coming at you from the manicpod studios. I'm here with Pradeep Maity. Am I pronouncing the last name right?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. He is a gamer, he is a voiceover artist, he has 2 podcasts, the Baatein Ansuni podcast and It's Getting Deep with Pradeep. And we are about to get deep with Pradeep at Friday Chats from the studios. And I cannot wait to get started. So let's just jump right in. Pradeep,
Cool.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's push the microphone a little closer.
Cool, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So, Pradeep, I saw on your LinkedIn when I was researching for questions that you had posted about going to see the Dragon Ball Z movie with the Hindi voice cast.
Yes.
What did that feel like, being around the voices of our childhood?
It was like a dream.
Yeah.
I met Ankur Zaveri, who dubs for Goku.
Oof.
And he's the guy who's been dubbing Goku since we were in childhood.
Right.
So I met him. I told him, sir, thank you for making our childhood awesome. 90% of the childhood cast was there. I met everyone. It was amazing. I was sitting next to those guys.
Yeah.
And the best thing was all the people who were on the theater were fans. Were old Dragon Ball Z fans. And we were shouting and hooting. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was great. It was like a childhood dream for us.
Just out of interest, was there someone named Meenu Menon there by any chance?
No.
The reason I ask is because we've actually worked with Meenu Menon.
Okay.
She's a very good friend of manicpod. And she actually used to be a voiceover artist for a lot of our childhood. So, you know, Kim Possible, she did. Powerpuff Girls, she did. You know, all. And I remember when she was telling us this, she can't remember a lot of the roles, but she did like Jade from Jackie Chan Adventures. And she was just like going through all this, and everyone in the studio, we were just like, she has literally voiced almost 85% to 90% of our childhood. Yes. And it was just like a celebrity has just walked in and we didn't even realize it. But Dragon Ball Z, I loved Dragon Ball Z as a kid.
I am such a... Also, I am not sure Meenu must be there because there are so many people.
Right.
So don't quote me on that.
Yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if she was there. And at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't. Yeah. Because when we were like, do you remember the roles? She remembered maybe like a small handful. And she's like, I've done so many, but I can't remember them all. So maybe she did do it, but then her invitation got lost in the mail.
Yes.
But that's like, when I saw that, I was so jealous. I was like, this is something I want to go to. Because I'm an anime fan, I'm a movie fan, and it was just, man. And so one thing you have in common with all of these legends is that you're also a voiceover artist. So have you done voiceovers for media, or is it like...
See, I have done a lot of... I'll come to that part from like how I got started into this. So I have done a lot of ads. A lot of ads which you see on TV and which you see on Instagram, the social media ads. I did a lot of them. I recently dubbed a movie, which I can't reveal because I signed an NDA.
Sure.
It's going to come up in few months or days or weeks. They don't tell us. Sure. Because it's up to the studios. So I did few animation stuff also. Again, I can't repeat those things.
Sure.
The recent big one which I did is I did a ad for Healthify Me. I did voiceover for Healthify Me ads. I did for Oriental Fans. The recent Ladakh tourism had my voice in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
You must having like at the end my voice comes like Ladakh tourism.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Nice. And the movie, I don't want you to tell me what it is, but is it like from the south somewhere?
No. It's an English one.
Okay. Awesome. That's all I need to know.
I'll let you know when it comes.
Absolutely. Then I'll immediately get the Hindi dubbed version, and So, one of the things that a lot of people have told me, and this is me kind of tooting my own horn a little bit, is that apparently I have a very good voice. So everybody's like, oh, you should do radio, you should do voiceover work.
Yes.
How would you grade my voice if you were to tell me?
It's amazing. When you approached me, I went to your page and I checked your thing. I was like, wow, his voice is so good. Also, the best thing is sitting on a table, mic is in front of you. This is the best feeling ever.
It is.
And when you wear those headphones, you hear your own voice. Just love those things.
Yeah, and it's like when I started at this company, it takes a little getting used to. And that's something everybody, when they come in, most of the people who come here have never done podcasting in their lives.
Yes.
So when they start, everybody's just like, this is such a weird feeling.
Yes.
but then you give them a little bit, and it becomes second nature to them, and they want to come back and do it all over again.
Like this thing happened with me. So I used to do freelance voiceover long back.
Yeah.
So, but then like that time I didn't have a professional setup. I was using an USB mic and I was recording at my place. And after I do the recording, I hear the thing on my headphone and edit it and send to the client. So first time I went to a studio, they were like, you have to wear the headphone and you have to hear your own voice. The programmer you have to hear his voice. You have to hear the director's voice, and you also have to hear the voice of the visuals which is happening on the screen.
Yeah.
So that time I was like, shit, I can't do this thing. I used to think, hey, I'm good at this thing. I'm good at voiceover. But when the first time this thing happened with me, I was so scared. For 2 days I was like, shit, I can't do this work. And after that, I got the whole studio at my place. I experienced everything, and after that I can do it. I started doing this thing.
And it's so just for a lot of people, maybe because we've never actually touched on this in any of our Friday chats, but a lot of people when they come in, they ask us, why do we put the headphones on? Is it very necessary? And this is a very common question. So from someone who's actually done voiceover work, podcasting work, if you could tell everyone what exactly is the purpose of being able to listen to your voice in the headphones?
That's the most important thing. When you're recording, not just podcast or even if you're recording something for your friends or family, whatever, you have to listen it live. So you get to know what's the mistake I did.
Right.
When I'm listening what I'm saying, I can understand. See, if I'm talking to you right now, I don't know what's the place where I'm fumbling. But if I'm having the headphone on, I know where I fumbled. So I can record that line again.
Right.
So that's the most important thing. And it's necessary for voiceovers also, for movies also, everywhere.
Yes.
So for example, when you dub a movie, that actual scene is going on. If I'm dubbing a South Indian movie, the South Indian movie is going on in their native language.
Yeah.
So you have to match that tone, you have to listen to that also, and you have to take that pace and say in that format.
Yes.
So that's why headphone is the most important thing.
I was watching an old interview with Bruce Lee, actually, and he said that a lot of the movies that he did back in the day, they were filmed silently. So there was no kind of sound recorded on the set during the recording. So a lot of the recording work that he had to do was all done in post.
Yes.
So I imagine there were no headphones to record any audio. So that must have been quite the challenge. So it's quite a distance that we've come since then.
Yes.
And now it's like everybody has access to it. So obviously we are from a generation that grew up with access to, the kind of entertainment that wasn't there. Cartoon Network came around in 95, Nickelodeon in 97, all these great channels.
Yes.
They came around while we were still kids. And you seem to have always had a passion for media and broadcasting and that kind of content.
Yes.
When did that start for you exactly?
See, I'll tell you what. When I was child, everybody, just like everyone else, I wanted to become a pilot. Just like everyone else. So then I started growing. It was, I think, 5th or 6th standard. I was very fond of technology. So I used to watch those tech shows which used to come on CNBC Awaaz. There were Rajiv Makhni, there were Abhishek Telang.
Yeah.
I used to follow these guys. So they used to review tech. So what I did is I used to follow technology a lot. And I was like, I want to do this thing only. I want to be a tech journalist. That time there was not a term called tech journalist. And there was not a term called tech YouTubers. There were like few tech YouTubers like MKBHD in the West, they were there. So I started this thing. My YouTube channel used to call Geek Droid back in the days 2011-12. I started my YouTube channel. I used to review stuff which I used to get. Headphones, phones, whatever I get. So after that, I was like, when I had to choose after 12th, what stream should I go for? That time I thought, yes, I can do journalism. I can do tech journalism. So I messaged few people from the industry whom I used to follow. Luckily, they replied. I was like, I want to become a tech journalist. How to become a tech journalist? They were like, we don't have a criteria for that. There's not a genre called tech journalist. You have to join as an intern, you have to work, and after that, you can produce your own show. So I was like, cool, I'll do journalism. Then for journalism, I have to do BMM. I have to do BMM in Maharashtra. I have to do BMM. On third year, we can choose either advertisement or journalism. So what I did is I did a diploma in journalism when I was in first year. And from there, I got a job at a news channel. And at third year, I did advertisement also.
Okay.
So during my days in college, on all those 3 years, I made short films, I directed films, I wrote scripts, and I fell in love with this art form. And simultaneously, I was working at that news channel also, which I don't want to name.
Sure.
No publicity.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's written on my LinkedIn, but I can't name it right now.
Fair enough.
So I was to work there. From there, from there only I got the voiceover thing, because I had my YouTube channel. I used to do voiceover for that also, but the quality was low. After that, when I did join this journalism, I joined this office. So there I asked them, sir, I want to do tech journalism. They was like, there's no genre called that. We'll give you Bollywood. We'll give you entertainment. So every day I used to go to those Char Bangla, all the trailer launches, all the movie launches, all the song launches. I have to go there. I have to go with this cameraman. He used to record the stuff. I have to ask question to those people. I used to come back to my office and I have to do voiceover on those news only.
Okay.
And also, since my boss thought my voice is good, he used to give me few national news also, which we used to get from our other bureaus across the country.
Okay.
So I used to do voiceover in Hindi and English from there.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I completed my college. And so, can I start the podcast thing? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, go for it.
So, after that, I completed my college. I left that job because I did it in first year. And on the first year's vacation, during first year's vacation, I joined this organization. But I couldn't continue because of my college. So after that, I left that. I finished my degree. After that, I joined our family business. But while doing that thing, I was doing few other things. I had a e-commerce website. I had an e-commerce website called EOGeeks2, which did very good. After that, I have to close that because the margin were not coming. After that, I did food blogging also. I was among one of the top food bloggers in Mumbai because people still know me. I visited a lot of restaurants back then. After that, I was doing this family business thing.
Yeah.
Suddenly, 2020 lockdown happened.
Yeah.
So I was home, my friends were home, and I had a breakup, very bad breakup. After like 2 years. It was 2 years of relationship, and that girl was like greenlit on all the boxes.
Oh, I see.
So like she's the one. Luckily, before a day, I think so, before a day or two before the lockdown, we broke up. And I was very sad. I was crying. I was like, shit, yaar, ये ऐसा होना ही चाहिए था. Then I was like, एक second, bro, you're not a loser. Let's do something. See, I had few breakups previously also. Right. And I was like, if I am feeling those things, since I already experienced those things, again I'm feeling those things, there must be people who are feeling those same thing for the very first time.
Right.
So we can do something. Then I was like, chalo, we can do a podcast. I'll make a show. Then we are deciding what should we name the show. Then I was like, let's do Baatein ansuni. Baatein ansuni is like, you know this guy. For example, I know you.
Right.
But I don't know your relationship story.
Right.
So that's Baatein ansuni for me. Yes. I haven't heard that stuff. So I was like, let's do a show called Baatein ansuni. So I did the whole podcast is did by the whole thing, the editing, the artwork, everything. The concept is written by me. So I was like, let's do a show called Baatein ansuni. And luckily I was planning everything, and we have to go to Kolkata because COVID cases were rising in Mumbai. So we shifted to Kolkata. I was like, shit, I don't have my studio, I don't have my PC, what should I do? What I did is I planned everything. Then I rented a laptop in Kolkata.
Okay.
I saw a website, they were giving me a laptop for 2.5k a month. So I was like, it's a good deal. So I got the laptop rented. I bought the first mic which I bought was BM800.
Oh.
That's for like $1,200. That Chinese mic for $1,200.
Right.
I got that mic stand for $500. I got a pop filter. I got inside a room. I recorded a first episode with my friend. Till third episode, we didn't had this format of a show.
Right.
It's like, let's do something. After third episode, we decided ki we'll do first. The first part of the show will be like the best phase of the relationship, the honeymoon phase. After that, we'll talk what went wrong.
Yeah.
And after that, how you overcome those bad breakup phase and you got out of it, and where are you today? How you came here.
Right.
So, see, for example, I had a situation, you had a situation, someone else had a situation. There are 12 guests on the show. So if anyone listens to that, some of the episode will be related to someone.
Sure.
So I did that till first, second, third episode. We didn't had a format. After that, we started getting good numbers. I was motivated by that. So I bought a new laptop in Kolkata.
Nice.
I bought a new mic. So I learned new software. Previously, I used to record on Audacity.
Okay.
From there, I shifted to Adobe Audition. So if you listen to first episode of Baatein Ansuni and last episode of Baatein Ansuni, you'll feel the difference.
Right.
We upgraded everything. There's a friend of mine called Praveen. He helped me on the script, the trailer of the script. Rest of the show was unfiltered. I did that. It got good numbers.
Awesome.
Like even today when I check, like there are 400, 500 streams every single day.
Oh, wow.
And I was shocked why the metrics is like maximum of my listeners are from tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, I didn't expected that. And the best thing which happened with Baatein Ansuni was it was trending on top 7 all over India on Apple Podcast.
Okay.
Baatein Ansuni happened.
Right.
So after Baatein Ansuni, I got a call from EdTech company. They were like, we heard this podcast. We loved your voice. Would you like to do a series with us? 30 episodes EdTech series with them. So I did that. After that, I started getting few voiceover work. And from there, I joined Fiverr. So, and Fiverr helped me a lot.
Right.
Luckily, today I became a level 1 seller on Fiverr. I am one of the top rated Hindi voiceover artists on Fiverr. That happened, and after that I started getting few work, like few good works. After that, I was like, see, Baatein Ansuni, we did 12 episodes because I got bored.
Right.
Because every day I was recording an episode, every week we are uploading an episode. So I have to edit everything. If the episode is of 1 hour, it was taking me a day or two for me to edit. Because I have to plan the social media also. I have to post the trailer also. I have to edit the episode also. So after that, I got bored and I stopped the podcast. But a lot of people text me today also that we loved the episode, whom I don't even know. They just heard the podcast and they text me. And the biggest achievement from Baatein Ansuni was few of my friends who were on the show, who shared their relationship stories. Their ex-girlfriend texted them and said sorry. Like, yeah, this is why we did the show.
Just to get them to apologize. But something that you said really caught my ear, and that was when you said that you started out, you had no format, and then by around the third or fourth episode, you kind of figured out a structure and kind of a story to it.
Yes.
And that's something that I think is really interesting in where the podcasting space is growing in India, because a lot of people now, when they come like you, they don't really have an idea of what they want to do.
Yes.
But now they're all like, this is a storytelling format.
Yes.
And it's whether it's telling stories about technology, business, there's so much. It really makes you realize what great storytellers we have in this country.
Yes.
So with the podcasting, with the media, with the broadcasting work, was there someone that kind of was your mentor or, helped guide you towards these things? Or was that something you just kind of naturally grew towards as you went along?
See, it's not like there was one mentor who like helped me and everything. I used to whatever problem we used to Google. For example, I have watched a lot of tutorials how to use Adobe Audition. So all those YouTubers are mentors for me.
Right.
But I can't name one.
Okay.
So everything I did, I was like, I'll search how to do this thing. So for podcasting also, the most important thing which you guys are helping on is hosting.
Right.
How to host your podcast. A lot of people don't know this thing. So I hosted my podcast on Anchor. I found out on Google. So whatever problem I faced, I just Googled it.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's people really the one part where they struggle is when they put their podcast on Spotify or Apple or wherever it is. It's very difficult to get noticed.
Yes.
Because everybody's doing it, and not only that, you're competing against these very well-established podcasts, so it's very easy to get lost.
Exactly.
So I feel like now with podcasting becoming a more acceptable avenue of creativity, more people are coming to these hosting platforms, and now there are so many of them. There's Anchor,
Yes.
there's IVM, there's manicpod,
Yes.
there's Made in India, excuse me.
The Sabar Post.
Exactly. So there's all these people now going, if we can figure out a way to collate these podcasts and share them under one kind of banner, then more people will take notice. And these are getting experts to help. It's so important for these individual podcasters. So the obviously you kind of started by yourself. You got your own setup. Then you were learning the editing software. What was the hardest obstacle that you had to? What was one thing where you kind of banged your head against the wall for the longest until you found the solution?
See, everything else is good. So, for example, like editing, I can do it. I can wake up at night. I can do everything. The hardest part of doing podcast is asking the guest to come on the show.
Yes, that it is. It's, in fact, that's one of my main frustrations with LinkedIn, actually, because I have this podcast as well called the Hipster Podcast that I'm trying to start. And I want to get all these cool guests on. And whenever I reach out to them, there's this thing of you can't connect to, you have to connect to them first. And then only after you connect to them, you can send them a direct message. The only way to direct message is if you subscribe to that. And I'm not going to pay to be able to talk to these people. And I feel like LinkedIn, that's kind of like defeated the whole purpose of the platform in the first place. And then on social media, many of them aren't on social media or they're not going to respond to you. It's so difficult to get guests.
If your guest is famous and he has less than 1.5k followers on Instagram, then only he is coming on your show. If he has more than 10k or 100k followers, he won't respond only.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing. So when a lot of the guests that we've had on this show, for example, we had the podcaster who made the Indian Noir podcast. We had Marianne Thomas. These are like big names in the podcasting space. So when we found them, we were like, oh my God, this is like a big thing for us. We're getting these kind of people. But then obviously you also have people like the Seen and Unseen podcast. When I reached out to him, he was like, yeah, I'd love to be on the show, but I'm busy right now. And I'm like, when would you like me to get back to you on this? He's like, oh, you can reach out back to me in September. This was in July. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna, I don't know if I'll come back to you after that much time.
This is the same thing happening with me. Hopefully there's a guest lined up for It's Getting Deep with Pradeep.
Yeah.
So I'm facing the same thing with a guest. So hopefully it happens. I'm also doing this since the month of June, July.
Yeah. No, fingers crossed, because I totally feel where you're coming from with the guests. It's so, because you have to convince them firstly, you have to, build that rapport with them, and then just pray that, they have the time and the inclination to do it. And unless your show is also famous, they're not going to do it. So, that's why we feel so lucky when guys like you and everyone comes to the show, because it's really kind of like these guys feel like this show is worth their time. So, coming back to the Baatein Ansuni and It's Getting Deep with Pradeep. Firstly, the Baatein Ansuni. So this whole breakup themed stories thing. So are you narrating the stories, or is it the guest coming in?
It's like guest. Yeah. Every episode there's a guest. So I am just a guy who's listening to your story.
Okay.
You come on my show. You share your own stories. I'll be a guest on the show.
Okay.
It's like that. So people come to my show. So the first question is the first catchphrase of my show was like, "Kaun si wali alag thi?" So whenever we are in relation, we say ki bhai meri wali alag hai. She's not gonna cheat on me and everything. So that's my catchphrase was like, "Kaun si wali alag thi?" And then people start telling their stories. And I was like, if I feel something similar happened with me also, I also share my own experiences.
So have people come to you and been like, I want to be on the show, I want to share my stories with you?
Yeah, there are a few people.
Nice. Because I might be the next in line for that one. I've got some doozies to share with people.
Season 2, episode 1 would be on you only.
Awesome. And it'll be the best episode of the season. And then It's Getting Deep with Pradeep. Firstly, I love the name, because it's like whenever I'm in the office and I see the name pop up, recently uploaded episode, I'm always just like, guys, It's Getting Deep has finally uploaded a new one. So how did you come up with the name?
I'll tell you something. So that's what I said on this trailer also. I'm a little bit narcissist. So I wanted something on my own name.
Right.
Because I was like, when we watch a lot of podcasts, the big ones, the big names, they have their own name on the show. I was like, at least for the SEO, we need our own name on the show.
Right.
If we are doing podcasts or whatever other business we are doing, we need our name on the SEO.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, let's do something. And then I was like, we need to rhyme something with Pradeep. What rhymes with Pradeep? The last name of Deep is Deep. Last name of Pradeep is Deep. And I was like, okay, let's do this thing. And people who listen to this for the first time, they should have a double thought of that. So the catchphrase of the show is, it's getting deep with Pradeep. I know that sounds sexual, but I was talking about my thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's like I've heard that, but then when I saw when you submitted the show for uploading to our platform, I remember seeing it and going, I know this is going to be awesome. But you mentioned the SEO thing, and a lot of people don't realize just how important the marketing aspect of it also is. So if you had to recommend to an individual podcaster to try and get their podcast noticed through things like SEO, what advice would you give them?
See, the most important thing is you target on the names. Hashtag is gone. Everybody thinks like we'll put the hashtag is gone. So you have to put the names. For example, if you are promoting your own name, put it everywhere, on the description also, on the name of the show, on the title also, on the picture also. Pictures also, Google also scans those pictures. If you have the like name on the poster, Google also scans those things.
Okay.
So I like to share one thing. I'm super proud of this thing. Before starting Baatein ansuni, when you search for Baatein ansuni on Google, Pritam song used to come. Baatein kuch ankahi si from Life in a Metro.
Right.
If you Google for Baatein ansuni right now,
it's yours.
My show will be on top.
Nice. But yeah, people are always like, I need something unique. But I feel like if you just figure out how to, get that SEO thing sorted, you could actually overcome some pretty popular usages of those words. So, you do 2 podcasts. You work at Fiverr. You do all these cool, amazing things. How do you have the bandwidth to manage all these things? Because for a lot of our podcasters and many who are out there as well, they start with this thing of, I'll make a podcast, I'll do this many episodes, and, I'll get all these guests. And then the grind of the actual work of it comes to them. And obviously balancing their own lives with, the jobs that they have, their family life and whatever that is. And it gets very difficult, of course, naturally. So many of them fall and stop making content because they feel like they just need a break or they need a rest. So how do you balance that?
See, not just break. I would like to add one more thing here. Not just break. In India, podcast doesn't have a huge it has a huge potential, but it doesn't have a huge market right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when an individual podcaster is doing his podcast, he must be thinking, at least let me get 1,000 streams or 2,000 streams. That's the bare minimum he want. But the streams which he get is like 20, 30. Right. It happened with me at starting also. But luckily, I did it during lockdown and everybody was free. Everybody listened to it. A lot of unknown people messaged me also. So that's the most demotivating thing, that you are not getting the numbers.
Right.
And for people who don't know what's the process of podcasting, it's an expensive process also.
Yes.
You have to get good mics.
Yes.
So when we are recording this podcast in the studio, there are equipments worth of lakhs. It's present here. This stand is just for 10-12K. So this is very demotivating, when you do that thing. And second thing is, all the big people who are doing the podcast, they get the number, they get everything. So we look up to them. It's like, if he's getting that percent, we might get only 10%. We just want only 10% of that audience, but we don't even get those. Because I have listened to so many good podcasts. I just reach out to them. I was like, bhai, I just loved your podcast. Great show. I was like, but we don't have the numbers.
Yeah. And that's the the depressing part, because a lot of the podcasters who come to us, they'll say, even the people who you would imagine have some kind of really strong backing to them, many of them come to us and, they'll say, just please keep in mind that we're a startup, or please keep in mind of this, please keep in mind of that. And so, obviously, because we're a for-profit business, when we start charging them, many of them, feel a little turned off when we give them the prices. And it is a little, disheartening that people are seeing the fact that they have to pay money and kind of running away, because so many of them think that they'll get to come in and we'll be paying them, or, that's the kind of dream of it. But sadly, we don't have that. That's not the dynamic that exists in India right now. So what do you think needs to change for that dynamic to reach that potential?
I discuss this thing with all of my friends a lot of times. We don't have a proper monetization structure for podcast in India. US, it's a huge market. For example, if you host your podcast on Anchor, on US, or even other countries, they give you like for 1,000 streams, they give you $10.
Right.
Which is a decent amount. Which is a decent amount if you have good numbers on your podcast.
Yeah.
So I was like, at least give that thing to India, na? Anchor doesn't have a proper monetization structure in India. Not just Anchor, none of the platforms, none of the hosting platform which are there, none of them have a proper monetization structure. So that needs to be figured out. Like at least you do something like YouTube, you put an ad before your if I'm for example, I would like to suggest you this thing. For example, if I'm hosting my podcast on manicpod,
right,
you can put you can have the ads from the marketing guy, whatever it is. You get those ads. You can place, if my podcast is doing great numbers, you can sell my spot to that guy. You can put those ads before my podcast. You can put that ad after my podcast. You can put that ad before my podcast or in between my podcast. So by doing that, at least the company is making money. At least the podcaster is making money. So there's no proper monetization structure in India as of now.
That's right. And actually, it's interesting that you brought that up as a suggestion, because when we actually went and spoke with a lot of marketing companies and, about the possibility of backing podcasts financially, many of them, kind of turned around and said that podcasting, it's not that big a market. And this was mainly we were looking at in terms of corporate podcasts, So we were like going to companies and saying, you should back this podcast or you should make your own podcast. Yes. And many of them are going, but, what is the tangible benefit of that? So that's the kind of almost catch-22 paradox that we have, where it's like, we will back you if you can prove that you have the numbers, but we can't get the numbers unless we have the backing. Yes. So it is this very kind of difficult situation. But I do want to kind of switch gears for a second and talk about how we could do that, in a more, I guess, I don't want to use the word jugaad way, but we might have to use that word. So a lot of people, when they come to us with ideas, what is so disheartening is that they all have very similar ideas. They're all like, I want to do a business podcast. I want to talk to the business leaders. I want to, really get into how they started and all that. And I think in the time since that I've been working here, I think I've gotten at least 50 calls all saying they want to do this idea. And in fact, just today before you came, so we work on 2 business podcasts. And I just, one of them sent us an episode today, and I passed it on to my sound engineer. And he messaged back saying, this guest was actually on another one of our podcasts that we worked on. So it's like they're all just talking to the same people, and it gets very difficult. So I want to ask you this. You mentioned storytelling as a very key, integral part of podcasting. And obviously, I think some of the best podcasts out there have kind of almost ditched the interview conversation format.
Yes.
And you kind of have that with Baatein, ansuni, where it's like someone telling a story and you're just there as a listener.
Yes.
Do you feel that people, if they were just willing to accept the responsibility of being able to tell stories, and focus their energies on that instead of trying to be like a journalist, interviewer type, do you think that would allow enough differentiation to get into the...
Yes, exactly. See, when, for example, Baatein ansuni, most of the episode guests are my friends only.
Yeah.
But I started this another show called It's Getting Deep with Pradeep.
Yeah.
So on that show, I had set everything. So this is the second time I'm doing podcast.
Right.
I'm not new to it. I know how the numbers will come. I know how to edit a show. But the thing is, I got a editor for It's Getting Deep with Pradeep.
Right.
So you're asking how I manage everything.
Yeah.
So since COVID is gone, I am doing a lot of stuff. So I hired an editor. I have a small team of writers who suggest me idea also. They are my friend. Few are of my friends also. There are few people who are working as a freelancer also. So, and most of this thing, this voiceover thing and most of the podcast thing, I record after 12. Most 90% of my episodes are recorded at night after 12, after 1 or 2.
Wow.
Because I feel like at that time, at midnight, you don't have any other work. You are free. that's the most raw conversation you can ever had. See, if I'm recording an episode right now with you, so I have things like I have to meet someone after this, I have to go somewhere, yeah, or else you have to go somewhere. But if I'm recording an episode at night at 2 or 3, we just have to sleep. We don't have anything in our shoulder.
Yeah.
So that's the most raw conversation we can ever had.
That, and also there's no traffic around at that time. That's it's it's funny because when we started this studio, right? So this building, obviously the people watching can't see this, but the building initially was only 5 floors. So now there's 7. Those floors were added while we had moved in. So, in the early days, we'd be sitting and doing our work in here, trying to record, and there'd just be construction sounds happening. And it would penetrate a soundproof studio. And it was just insane so we had to try and arrange for recordings in the, on the weekends or late in the evenings. And it was a whole thing. And now I'm just glad that they finished those 7 floors. But coming back to the podcasting, if you had to recommend one podcast to the people listening, what would it be? See,
my current favorite podcast, and I'm a little bit biased towards that also, is Bhaskar Bose.
Yes.
A lot of people have heard Bhaskar Bose. It's one of the top Hindi podcasts in India. And also biased because the last guest of Baatein ansuni was Bikesh Da, Inspector Bikesh, who is the sidekick to Bhaskar Bose.
Yeah.
So he was a guest on the show. He is a very great guy. Every time they upload a new episode, he just texts me. I talk to him. I ask him ki kaisa chal raha hai. So, and see, this another show I was listening to recently, ACB Gautam. Again, it's on Spotify. See, the thing is, I listen to this podcast when I go for a walk,
right?
When I'm jogging. I like the interview kind of podcast I like to watch. Because for example, the guest has came, I know who's the guy.
Right.
I want to listen to this guy because I want to get some knowledge from that guy.
Sure.
So I want to watch this guy because I want to learn the body language he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get things from him. So interview kind of podcast I like to watch, but this story kind of podcast I love to listen.
And you, the names you mentioned, obviously they're in the same genre of the kind of crime, mystery kind of thing.
Yes.
So just out of interest, and this is a completely, non-podcast related question. Have you seen Putli yet? The Akshay Kumar
movie? No, it just came last night, I think so.
Yeah.
Before coming here, I was in my office. Before coming here, I went to my place for lunch.
Yes.
That time I was watching YouTube. I just put on this thing. Review was going on of Putli. They were like, it's not that great. The original was good.
Yeah.
Again, if we are talking about Bollywood, this thing is coming, boycott and this thing. I don't support those things.
Yeah, no, it's like I saw the trailer for it. I actually was watching a review of it just today, and it was just like, because I also love the mystery genre, and I love and I think so much of that genre is dependent on audio and sound.
Exactly.
And I feel like that would be the best kind of storytelling to translate into audio, and the fact that the video is now being let down now, it's kind of like, come to audio. Come to audio. You will make a killing over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, on audio, you don't have a barrier.
Exactly.
You don't have to go to an exotic location and shoot.
Yeah.
You can put on the editing thing. You can put the laptop on, and you are there. Close your eyes and you're at Dubai, whatever place you're.
Exactly. The limit is the imagination. It's like when you're writing a book. It's like you can do anything.
Exactly.
You can get into the character's head. You can do their thoughts. Exactly. It's awesome.
See, there's one more thing I want to say. Is this another podcast, which I used to listen since my childhood, which was not even a podcast.
Okay.
So when I used to go to Kolkata in my childhood, there was a show in Radio Mirchi called Sunday Suspense.
Yes.
Bengali. It used to be a Bengali show.
Yes.
Every Sunday they used to take some book of Satyajit Ray or any other ghost stories. They used to narrate everything, whatever we are listening now, audio dramas. They used to do it back then, 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the year. Maybe like back then, it must be like 10, 12 years old. So they used to do that thing. After that, nowadays podcast happened. Spotify saw it. Spotify took the opportunity and made Sunday Suspense a Hindi podcast. It's a Spotify original now.
Yeah, we actually have one of the Radio Mirchi Sunday something on our platform as well. I listened to some of it.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So those were the initial days of podcasting in India.
Yeah.
It was a radio. And again, there was one more thing. The one more reason I like to do podcasts, like I get to be the RJ.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's also, I just wanted to bring up this one thing as well. This is me kind of trying to sell all the things that we're doing. So we're actually fiddling around with this live podcasting.
Wow.
And when I'm sitting behind the kind of the technology and arranging the live podcast and everything, it does feel kind of like the radio
Yes,
is back in a
exactly.
little bit. So it's like we're fiddling around with that, and we want to bring people to come in and play around with it a
Yes.
little bit. And once it's like ready, and once we're ready to push it out, we're so excited for people to give it a shot and see what they can
This
do
is
with
the
it.
best thing. See, I personally love sitting on a table, having a mic in front of me, sitting on the chair. I love doing this thing so much. This is the logo of my second podcast.
Yeah.
It's Getting Deep with Pradeep. Because I love this thing. You're sitting on the table, talking on the mic. It feels like an RJ. See, for example, when we are child, everybody wants to be an RJ.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be an RJ. So here we can become an RJ.
Yeah, exactly. And since you already, do your podcast kind of so late in the night, I can I have it already in my head, where you have a group of people who are, staying up late, doing whatever
Yes.
it is. And then they're listening to you speak live,
Yes.
on their phones or whatever it is.
Yes.
And that thought just gives me chills.
Yes.
Like that is the possibility
That
of
will be a
podcasting
sure shot
now.
hit.
Yes.
All the best.
I'm so excited to push it
Yeah,
out.
also, I was discussing, kudos to manicpod. I was discussing this thing with my friend a day before or two. I was like, the things which we wanted to do once to revolutionize this podcast genre, you guys are doing it.
Yeah, when we came in, that was kind of our whole thing where, our tagline in the beginning was the new front line of the podcasting revolution, because we felt that the way people think about podcasting, and it's been evidenced by, some of the people who have come to us, sadly, that they have this very kind of narrow idea of what podcasting is, which is that it's just a way to, how do I put it? It's almost like how people thought about documentary movies.
Yes.
It's like it's just this tool that you can
Yes.
use to educate school children. It's just a bunch of interviews that you stitch together and that's it.
Yes.
But then even with documentaries, you can do so much with the format.
Exactly.
And it's just a question of now getting, lighting that spark of people's imagination. Like this, if we can do this with podcasting, if we can do this, if we can
Yes.
do that, if we can do this. Now I can't wait for someone to come to me with an idea that's going to make me go, that is awesome.
Yes.
That's what we want to do. That is going to be the next big thing. Come, we're gonna make that thing
Yes.
happen. That's what I'm waiting for, and then I'll feel like we have genuinely done something.
All the best for that.
I'm gonna keep you updated on everything.
Sure,
It's
sure.
So, we're finished with the podcasting
Cool.
things, but I still want to chat for a second. And I mentioned in the little kind of ad that we put out on Instagram about how you're into gaming and everything, and I'm a big gamer as well. So I just want to ask, what are you playing right now?
See, I just finished Ghost of Tsushima. Last week.
My goodness, what a game! What a game!
I'll tell you something. Nobody has heard this thing ever. So this is exclusive for you guys. Since I do voiceover, I have a studio at my place. You finished that game, right?
I finished it. Yes,
The ending was so good.
superb.
I loved that ending. I want to dub that scene in Hindi. I wrote a script. I wrote a whole script, the whole ending of Ghost of Tsushima in Hindi of both the characters, Uncle and Jin.
Yeah,
I'm gonna record, I'm gonna dub that scene. I have a 3 version of it. One where Uncle kills you. One where
you kill Uncle.
you kill Uncle. One you spare Uncle.
Yeah.
Just love that thing.
The thing that what I loved about Ghost of Tsushima is like, because obviously there was that whole thing in the movies how
Yes.
there was the American Western, then it became the samurai movie, then it became the Western
Yes,
again.
exactly.
And I feel like there's also now the masala Western, the
Also,
Sholay and all
the
that.
game is not like that character. Like, that character is not only growing. You are growing with that character.
Exactly.
Eventually, you are becoming the ghost.
Exact. And I don't know if I've seen your Insta. I don't know if you've seen mine, but there's actually a picture in my Instagram of when I was finished with the game. I actually posted a picture of because you have that cinematic
Yes,
mode,
yes,
and
yes,
I posted a picture of my character standing at the how your first horse dies.
Yes.
Spoilers, by the way. I literally took a picture of myself at the horse's grave with the sword in the air, and I was just like, this is a fucking awesome image, right?
Even I have posted that on my story when the horse was dead. It was heartbroken.
My goodness, I genuinely did not expect.
What you did at the end? You killed the uncle. You spared the uncle.
I killed him. Like I was
because you wanted that white costume.
Yeah.
If you kill the uncle, you get the. If you spare the uncle, you get the red costume.
Yes.
If you kill him, you get the white. Also, you finish the Iki Island mission.
Yeah.
Iki Island was great. I feel like Iki Island mission was better than the whole this Genghis Khan story.
Yes, it was. I definitely agree with that. But and that's the what I think was the game's real selling point, which was that it was a really good story and you really grow with the character. Yes. And that's actually the game I'm playing right now is Sifu. Wow, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
But it's like
I got it. I got Shifu on this PlayStation Network. I just downloaded it.
Yeah, because I heard about the game a long time ago. I got the kind of the Steelbook edition and everything. Wow. So I started playing it, and it's so. The thing is, I was just like, I want to try and win this game without dying once. Yes. You know, my character's still young, but then it's just not possible. And that's what I think is so clever about the game is that you have to die, you have to grow, you have to learn before you can get to
before you finish the game.
Exactly. So there's that, and the next game I want to play is Stray. I don't know if you've...
I also have Stray.
You have Stray.
See, the thing is, I got all the membership. I had the PS Plus membership. After that, now they have given the PS Premium membership.
Yeah.
Every month they give us all those games. I have Stray also. I have Sifu also. I'll play once I get time.
Yeah.
See, since you asked about this gaming thing, the biggest flex I have for gaming is I have the PS5 Day 1 India exclusive certificate. I hold a certificate that I got the PS5 on India Day 1.
I am so jealous right now because I want the PS5 because my PS4 I got it in like 2015 secondhand. So and also I bought it while I was living in the US. So I brought it here. It is old. It crashes. Yes. It does that whole beeping thing.
At night, it sounds a lot.
Yeah, it's just, and that's the thing. It's so now I can't. If I buy, let's say, movies here, I can't play them on the PlayStation 4.
Yes.
So if I buy the PlayStation 5, I can start buying movies again, and I can play games. Those are region free. So I'm just waiting to be able to buy the PS5, but they don't seem to be available anywhere anymore.
It's hard for me also.
Yeah.
But luckily, I did some things and I got it.
Man, you're going to have to share your secrets on how you did that with me because
the first day when this flash sale was going on, I opened all the websites on my office computer. One was Chroma, one was Reliance, and every website was open. I tried getting it, but I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a contact who managed one for me from official Sony only. I got it.
And how much did you pay for it?
The same amount only.
Which was...
total I paid around 60k, I think so.
Huh.
Because I got 2 games, the Spider-Man one and Demon Souls, and I got an extra controller also.
Nice. Yeah, the Spider-Man, the sequel is coming out.
See, you played that game, Spider-Man?
I played Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Miles Morales.
But I feel like Spider-Man was better.
It was so Spider-Man Miles Morales was more of just like a kind of companion. It was like much shorter.
It doesn't even have a good ending. Doesn't even have a good villain.
It was not meant to be its own game. I think it worked as a kind of expansion of the first game, but it wasn't.
The PS4, PS5 Spider-Man game is the greatest superhero game ever made.
I agree. I remember playing that game and just it was.
Also,
insane.
like if someone doesn't know the story of Spider-Man, he'll love that game.
Exactly.
Because you are helping Dr. Octopus from starting, you're helping him building the suit. At the end, he becomes a villain.
Yes. It's like it takes all the best parts of the the movies and the comics and blends it into this really great story. It's awesome. And the way you can kind of realize that all the different costumes and everything and the customization.
From movie to everywhere.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so now I can't wait for Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok.
God of War. I was going to ask you that thing.
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok.
Man, the theories and everything
gave me goosebumps.
It did. Oh my goodness. That the ending when he took off the
that ending has a post-credit scene, dude. This game has a post-credit scene.
Yeah. So have you heard of the theory? You know, they had that little ad where they had the actress Felicia Day. She was reading. She was basically recapping the story, right?
Okay.
There's a theory going around that she's going to be the voice actress of the Faye, Kratos' wife.
Wow.
And she's going to, because there's time travel involved, right?
Yes, exactly.
So she's going to be the voice actor. Because so in the video, when it opens, her posture is very, very similar to in the murals, the posture of Faye. So they're like, it has to be her. You know, like, why would they get this random actress to voice this, and she's like, she's great at telling stories. She's telling a story. And she seems to hate the Odin's things. And it's like, it's got to be Faye.
Wow.
And it's such a compelling theory.
When this game comes out, it's going to break all the records.
It's going to break
all the records.
It's going to break everything.
That was a game of the year, I think, 2016-17. God of War was game of the year.
It was. So many of the...
It is going to be again.
Yeah. And I just can't wait to,
See, I have played it on my PS4 also. But when I got PS5, I played that game again on 4K. And it blew my mind.
You're just making me need that PS5 a lot more in my life.
Seriously, I never imagined that I'll get to... In Mumbai, I'll get to play... I'll get to do gaming in 4K. So early.
But that's kind of the cool thing about our generation is that we've embraced technology so much. But Pradeep, it was really great having you on the show and talking. I'm gonna continue this conversation on gaming with you, and the whole podcasting thing. Honestly, with the whole gaming culture, I'd love to have you on the Hipster podcast as well. Sure. We can have a conversation about that and have a proper gaming conversation. Sure. But thank you so much
I'll
for
bring my PS5 that
time. Please don't. Please don't. I will just bop you on the head and take it from you. But thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Me.
And I wish you all the luck with everything you're doing.
Thank you so much. Wish you very big luck with manicpod. I just hope it grows well, because the things which you guys are doing in India for podcasts, none of the companies are doing. See, I'll tell you, I have spoken to a lot of production people who just produces podcasts and everything. I even spoke with one of the biggest platform who is providing podcasts right now. I don't want to name it because I want to work with them. So I pitched them a podcast. It's called Dhimi Aaj Par. It's a food podcast. We have everything ready. I pitched it to them, and they were like, okay, so you have to at least give us 24 episodes. You have to produce 3 episodes. You need to give us synopsis. You have to give us credit and everything. And after that, we'll decide we'll produce it or not. So it's like, see, we have a team, we can do it. But for the people who are doing it individually, they can't do it now.
Yeah.
So the things which you guys are doing, for example, if I want to make that show, I can make a show and publish it to your platform.
Exactly.
At least you have an audience, you have a particular set of audience who will listen to this thing. So very big thank you to manicpod for that thing. And very big thank you to manicpod for having me here.
Absolutely.
Because no one listened to podcasters.
No, absolutely. I feel like, honestly, this is a great show for people who are trying to get into podcasting as well, because they're hearing from people who actually are in the space, they have achieved success, and they can, giving them those role models to, look at and go like, I can do this, or, I'm going to follow how this guy did it. So thank you for sharing all that knowledge, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, man. So this is Vedant signing off with Pradeep Maity. This is...
Thank you so much for watching, guys.